The Wadi Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, the Wadi Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, all praise, glory, and honor due unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah Kudash, Barakadah. Peace and blessings to Hopeful Elect, 144 and the rest of 1/3, Hopeful Elect, and all my apostles, bishops, and elders, and Malaki, who rule well in GMS, and all the Spickle Bird, and all the Akwatham, Shalom. See, the Lord is letting you know, devil, this is what's happening to you. You know what I'm saying? Right now. You know what I'm saying? Just listen. See? And now your women is turning on you real big time, devil. That's right. Your women is going against you strong, like Vietnam King Kong. That's right. You're done, devil. You think you're slick? The Lord controls all. Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Rakah Kudash Barakadah controls all. You dig? So your time is up, devil. You better recognize where we at. We're going to go to, where we at? Psalms 137. Because you're done, devil. Oh, yeah. Psalms 137. Come on. Where we at now? Come on. Yeah. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem. This is 137 of Psalms, verse 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that take and dash thy little ones against the stones. That's right. So your time is up, devil. Oh yeah, big baby. You know what I'm saying? Everything's coming against you. Everything. Do you understand that, devil? Everything is coming against you. You know? Now, look at this. Look at what's going on. Look at this. You see that? Where we at? You see that? There we go. You see that, a hawk? You see that? That's the Lord breaking you down. That's the hawk right there. Yahushua. See that green? You see that burrow? That's right. We're going to make it plain. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, devil. Uh-huh. It's a wrap. We're going to show it again one more time for the rhyme. Yeah. You see? Yahushua angry. He ain't playing. Thought you knew. Yeah. Uh-huh. Thought you knew. Where we at? Where we at? We just had it. You know what I'm saying? Your time is up, devil. Your time is up. That's right. Voila.
She might be a Palestinian, or I don't know. She's definitely an Ishmaelite.
Let's take it back.
Muslim. Shalom. Call hello, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakah Kwadash.
You're done, devil.
Double honors to the apostles, double honors to the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than never. The would-be judges, the 144,000, the tabernacle of David, ordained to be the ruling class people here on earth, above all other nations, above all the people, above all other governments. All the governments of the world will become the governments of the Lord and Savior upon his return. In the most violent way, they're not just going to lay down. That is the kingdom of heaven. It will be here on earth. Under the authority who the world fraudulently and falsely calls JC, his name is Yahushai. Always was, always will be. And he's coming back to set up King David, the 12, and the rest of the 144,000, which primarily make up the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, whether you like it or not. Don't care if you like it or not. Or don't care if you don't like it, would be the better statement. And to the rest of the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, among the heathen nations that have the appearance of the heathen nations. This is not a black only thing. You know, they love to try to push that false, hateful narrative of black Israelites, black Hebrew Israelites. It's just the Hebrew Israelites. All right, their so-called black people are just as light complected as so-called white people. And same thing among the native tribes, same thing among the Latin, so-called Latin tribes. It's not a black thing. That's a false social construct that Esau Edom came up with. Same as he created whiteness. There's no such thing as whiteness. Looking at a panel of men, the majority of them are what you call, well, at least 3 of them are what you call so-called white, and they're not white. No one is the color of that flag, the white parts of those flags there. No one's skin color is that color, and no one's skin color is actually black. You're either a shade of brown or a shade of red. Okay? When it comes to human flesh. All right. So, we're going to jump right into this thing. And this is going to be a very simple video, but to the point, because Esau Edom is exposed, and his women and the women of the world are collectively calling him out and seeing him for what he really is. It's one of the reasons why he's so angry. So I'm going to read Job 20 and 27 and 15. Then I'm going to play just a few minutes of this video with Kim Iverson, because even though she has she's still attractive, but she's not aging very well. All right. I mean, going back about 10 years ago, this woman was extremely attractive, and now she, you can see, I don't know if the stress, if the worry, I don't know, but those Edomite genes, because her mother is Moabite and her father is an Edomite, so she's an Edomite. The Bible, according to the Bible, there's no such thing as biracial. Whatever your father is, that is what you are. That whole biracial is a confusion that was created once again by Esau Edom, a so-called white man, because no one really said that prior to slavery, prior to him coming into power. All right, he created that nonsense to fit his false narrative of Edomite superiority, what they call white superiority. Remember, whiteness is made up. There was no such thing as white people before 1681. They made that shit up. Now that I gave you the year, the place was Virginia. Go do the research on your own. I've probably done at least 20 videos on that subject matter. I don't need to do it again, unless the spirit jumps on me to do it. But I gave you the info. Go look it up. But so Kim Iverson is an Edomite, and she's clearly against her men, whether she understands that or not. She's against the current power structures that is, and she's against the men that lead it. This is the book of Job 27 and 15, and it reads, "Those that remain of him shall be buried in death, and his widows shall not weep." All right, because when you go up to 13 and 14, it says, "This is the portion of the wicked man with God, and the heritage of oppressors, which they shall receive of the Almighty." Remember, these men, Hegseth bragged about being proud of colonizing, the mightiness of colonizing. All right, so this is literally talking about the Edomites. Because the Edomites, the so-called white man who's in rulership today, is the only one who fulfilled these scriptures of conquering in this matter and oppressing, and then oppressing the whole world, putting the whole world under their vibration, but they were forced to follow them. And they didn't do it. The Lord did it. He set them up to do that, just so we could turn around and punish them and expose them in the end of days. And that's exactly where we are. "If his children be multiplied, it is for the sword. And of his offspring shall not be satisfied with bread." And then once again, "Those that remain of him shall be buried in death, and his widow shall not weep." This, white women, and a lot of women in general, again, to the point where they have no pity or no care of what happens to Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. And Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, is very angry about that. And let me give you some examples before I play a couple short clips. And then we're going to read Malachi about how Esau is hated of the God, because Christianism has taught that God loves everybody, and that's a complete and total lie. That's not scriptural. God hates the Edomites, the bases of men, who are identified as the wicked. And he set them up, and they are the ruling class people here in the end of days. Okay? They are the ruling class people. You cannot get around that. And this thing is known now. And mainly because the Hebrew Israelites, not the black Hebrew Israelites, the Hebrew Israelites. Okay? So let's go to these, got a couple videos. Man, April and Neil been busy. I got to go get into these videos, 14 of them. All right, so let's start with this chick. Ashley Ryan is actually featuring Bella Vandella, Margaret Stucken, who's a Jake. She's one of the people we talk about. Margaret Stucken, Bella Vandella, all right, is definitely an Israelite scattered among the heathen. They have the appearance of the heathen. All right, her spirit is screaming ninja woman. All right, real talk. But we got one with her and Ashley Graham. So that's actually 4 women. Ashley Graham, Bella Vandella, an Ishmaelite woman, and then another, actually this one isn't a white woman. This woman might be Northern Kingdom. And then of course Kim. So like I said, Edomite women and women in general are tired and can see and are tired of the wickedness of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, self-proclaimed white man. All right, they can see it. All right, so we'll start with Ashley Ingram's featuring Bella Vandella. We'll start with that one. Just let them play. They're just a few minutes long, if that. And then we'll, read that Malachi and those 3 different versions of the Bible.
I don't give a fuck what none of y'all have to say. Lindsey Graham is not dead. That man ain't dead. Mitch McConnell. I don't give a fuck what none of y'all have to say. Lindsey Graham is not dead. That man ain't dead. Mitch McConnell is dead, but he been walking around dead for like 3-4 fucking years. You're gonna see a lot of Republicans who created this legislation, who created this propaganda, who helped execute all these crimes against humanity, whether it was by way of the Epstein files or the ICE detention centers, Heritage Foundation, Proud Boys, KKK.
I still killing people too.
Unexpectedly, because they're not actually dying. They're cashing out on their life insurance policy and fleeing to Argentina, where historically speaking, war criminals go for refuge because there's no extradition treaty. And there's also a right-wing lunatic running that motherfucking country that's in the pocket of fucking Israel. They chopped America up, sold it off for everything it's worth. There's absolutely nothing left. They treated America like a business that was going out of business. They liquidated this shit. They got everything they fucking could out of it, just like Netanyahu said. Sell it off piece by piece like the golden calf that it fucking is. They're using it in their genocide of the Gentile, and now they're going to flee the fucking country to motherfucking Argentina. Watch in these coming days how many senators or Republican politicians, for that matter, unexpectedly die of random fucking illness. My ass, bitch. You're just trying to escape the war crimes you committed. Fuck. I don't give a fuck what y'all have to say.
That is a Negro woman, if I ever seen one, in disguise. But anyway, a lot of things she said is 100% true, man. 100% true. And Argentina, I'm pretty sure that a lot of these billionaires, a lot of them, they got, what do you call them, gated communities and bunkers and all that shit down there in Argentina. Because a lot of, that's becoming a little hat stronghold. Just trying to readjust this camera stand, Salakia. That's becoming a Edomite stronghold, small hat, the wearers of the smaller hats, stronghold, because they are aware of what's getting ready to happen, in the land of Israel. They know that Israel is that land is not safe. That's why so many people living there, about thousands. One of the places they're fleeing to is Argentina. And if you notice, when they told the truth about obviously, you try to compare one world war, a couple years of oppression, you compare it to 400 plus years of oppression, rape, rob, murder, and even cannibalism, being eaten by your oppressors, and then try to say that that something that happened that can be argued, that has facts that cannot stand up to scrutiny, so they have to create laws so that you can't even talk about it or criticize it. You already know the event that supposedly took place in World War II with a certain group of people, because the numbers, what 85 million, 79 million, something like that, but only 6 million matter, that died. The other 80 million people, they're, fuck them. They don't matter. Only 6 million matter. So, but they try to take that incident that is highly debatable and easily debunked. But once again, there's laws on the books to where you can't speak on it and bring it up. The truth doesn't need laws to protect it. The truth just stands on its own. But they try to compare that to 400 plus years, almost 500 years actually, because the slave trade started when Cristobal Colon landed in 1492 in the islands. It started here in the Americas with the Israelites that were already here throughout the Americas, and then they went to get the refugees of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi that were in the west coast of Africa. So 500 years of oppression, rape, rob, murder, slavery, and also being consumed, cannibalism, to just a couple years. Come on, man. Hundreds and hundreds of millions of deaths compared to a small number. Hundreds of million compared to yeah. So everybody knows at this point. Like I said, you don't have to create laws to protect the truth. You don't. The truth will stand on its own, because when they allow people to bring the arguments and when bring the evidence that goes against the narrative crushes under the weight. But you got to think. You got a particular group of people that are milking the world and the nations dry. Okay, with the lie. So here, let's go back to our videos. That was the first one. Then we got this one with Davina. I believe this is an Ishmaelite woman. She might be a Palestinian, or I don't know. She's definitely an Ishmaelite and a Muslim.
Israelis think they can get away with anything because they literally do. They get away with every fucking crime they commit because they blackmailed all of our politicians and all of our leaders into supporting them regardless of whatever crimes they commit. So since our governments refuse to do their jobs because they prefer to, protect their shitty reputation over standing against a genocide, then we are going to be the ones who have to serve justice. We can no longer wait for karma to meet Israelis. When we meet Israelis, we're the karma. Israelis think they can get away with anything because they literally do. They get away with every fucking crime they commit because they blackmail.
You see her sentiment and how she feels. And now, and that's an attractive woman. I don't know what the hell she thinks she gonna do. She talking all that shit, but what you gonna do? One of them IDF soldiers just gonna grab you and bend you over like they've been doing your women. But anyway, here's the next one, and I think this is a Northern Kingdom woman. The woman, I don't know what the hell she thinks she gonna do. She talking all that shit, but what you gonna do? One of them IDF soldiers just gonna grab you and bend you over like they've been doing your women. But anyway, here's the next one, and I think this is a Northern Kingdom woman. Colon, Cahin, Salvador. So this is in Or she might just be an Edomite. She looks like an Edomite to me, but you know, you can't go off appearance. You got to go by the spirit. You haven't heard her speak, talk, or dance, so you know you can't really read her spirit simply out holding the sign. But yeah, so now that you get how these women feel and the sentiment that they have, you know, let's listen to this woman who has a really big voice. And then we'll get into those scriptures. But here we go.
So there he is saying he's been the greatest president for Israel. We know you're a terrible president for the United States of America, but you've been wonderful for Israel.
Yes.
He's sitting next to the president of Syria saying, look, I gave Israel the Golan Heights. That guy's territory, sitting next to him. Now that's important because what we're seeing with these oil reserves is very similar. He's willing to basically sell us out to give anything to the Israelis. The Israelis want a war with Iran. They're getting the war with Iran. Who cares about the American people? Who cares about our oil reserves? Who cares about gas prices? Who cares about the cost of living? To hell with you. Because what he cares about is he's been the greatest president for Israel. And he's willing to give away that guy's land for his country. He's willing to give that guy's country away. And he's been willing to give our country away as well. And getting this low in the oil reserves without actually making a deal with Iran by not controlling Israel. All Iran wanted in the deal was the first point of the memorandum of understanding was control your dog. That's supposed to be on a leash.
Get your boy.
Although now I'm pretty sure we're the dog. We're not.
Absolutely.
We're the ass is what we are. We're an ass. We just do whatever Israel wants.
Yes.
And so Donald Trump sits there and says he's the greatest president for Israel, gives this guy's land away and gives the United States away as well. And then he says, oh, Iran wants to make a deal, but I don't know if I want to make a deal with them. As we're nearing we're nearing the end of our U.S. petrol reserves.
We have many ways we can win, but we've already won militarily. They have very little depth.
You don't need to hear any more. He said, we've already won militarily. No, America and Israel lost to Iran. That's why Iran has control over the Straits of Hormuz. That's why your cost of living is just steadily increasing. All right. This is why the dollar is just shrinking, while gas prices keep going up. This man just sat there and lied to the whole world. America lost the war, started a war with Iran and lost control over the most important seaway in the history of mankind in modern times. And it's all going to lead to its downfall. So let's go to what we talked about. This is the out of the NLT. Like I said, I have the NLT, the Amplified, and I have the NIV. And it's interesting, in the NIV, in between the Malachi and Matthew, it gives you the history of the Maccabees. I didn't even know it was in there. It gives you the whole, and then it talks about the Apocrypha, which they tried to read, but the Apocrypha is not in the NIV. So they know that the Apocryphal history is correct. They know that bridges the gap in between the new and the old, and the reason why people don't have an understanding about Esau, Edom, the wicked, and the Hellenized Israelites who became Gentiles, right? So when you read in the New Testament about Gentiles getting salvation, that's because those Gentiles are the Israelites, the Hellenized Israelites that were under the Grecian Empire, the new Grecian Empire, because the old Grecian Empire were actually the sons of Japhet. The new Grecian Empire, when Alexander of Macedon took it over, or the Edomites, the so-called white man. So the so-called white man became the Greeks, became the Romans. Okay? And then Rome fell and it rose again as, Britain, the EU, NATO, and of course, America. And this is where we are. So this is Edom. This is Malachi 1 and 1 in the NLT. This is a message that Yahweh gave to Israel through his prophet Malachi. And the subtitle says, Yahweh's love for Israel. I have always loved you, says Yahweh. But you retort, really, how have you loved us? And Yahweh replies, this is how I showed my love to you, for I loved your ancestor Jacob, but I rejected his brother Esau and devastated his hill country and turned Esau's inheritance into a desert for jackals. And that is Mount Seir. All right. Esau descendants in Edom may say, we have been shattered, but we will rebuild the ruins. Okay, so Esau left there and he expanded and he got dominion over the world just as the Bible said he would. Okay, you can read about that in Daniel as well. But Yahweh of Heaven's armies replies, they may try to rebuild it, but I will demolish them again. Their country will be known as the land of wickedness, and their people will be called the people of whom Yahweh is forever angry. When you see the destruction for yourselves, you will say, truly, Yahweh's greatness reaches far beyond Israel's borders, because the Edomites have dominion over the whole earth as far as rulership goes. This is why, and with that oppression is why smaller hills, and smaller mountains, all right, hills and mountains representing large countries and small countries, governments are now posing against them. Also now have the ability to fight them because they also have special arrows that fly through the air that melt shit. It's just not America and the Edomite forces of NATO that have them anymore. Okay? And now these other countries are banding together to come against Esau, Edom. Let's go to the Amplified now. So in the Amplified, and we'll also jump to verse 4. I meant to read verse 4 and I didn't read it. Chapter 4, I mean. Verse 1 of chapter 4. But this is Malachi 1 through 5 in the the first chapter, all 5 verses in the Amplified. And it reads, the oracle, burdensome message of the world of Yahweh to Israel through my messenger Malachi. I have loved you, says Yahweh, but you say, how and in what way have you loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, declares Yahweh? Yet I loved Jacob, which is Israel, the Negro, Latinos, Native Americans, not the converts. We have evidence of that. All right. Watch the video I did yesterday and watch the live show. All right. About those 1,800 scholars that put together the 1971 Jewish Encyclopedia and the 1925 Jewish Encyclopedia, a total of 1,800 rabbis and Jewish scholars. And in both those books, it tells you that modern Jewry is Edom. So there's no way around this, man. The evidence is overwhelming. I have loved you, says Yahweh, but you say, how and in what way have you loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, declares Yahweh, yet I loved Jacob, Israel. But in comparison with my love for Jacob, I have hated Esau, Edom, and I have made his mountains a wasteland and have given his inheritance to the jackals of the wilderness. And it's given you, and it took you to Romans, the 9th chapter, 13 and 6. Come on, man. Whew. But though impoverished, Edom says, we have been beaten down, and we will return and build up the ruins. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, they may build up, but I will tear down, and men will call them wicked. And what are they saying? You're always calling us wicked. Well, you are. They're trying to demonize that word. We'll call them the wicked territory, the people against whom Yahweh have indignant forever. Your own eyes will see this, and you will say, Yahweh is great and shall be magnified beyond the borders of Israel. Man, I'm going to have to do lessons and go into these precepts. Just on Malachi, each one of these Bibles. I just found 3 new lessons, okay? This is Malachi, the 4th chapter. in the Amplified. And wow, look at these precepts on these scriptures that I'm bringing. These are the precepts in the Bible. All right. It says final admonition. This is chapter 4, Malachi 1 and 4. I mean, the first, it's only one book of Malachi, but this is the fourth chapter, verse 1. And it reads, "Behold, the day is coming, burning like a furnace, and all the arrogant, proud, self-righteous, haughty, and every evildoer shall be stubble. And the day that is coming shall set them on fire, says Yahweh of hosts, so that it will leave them neither root nor branch." So there's going to be no men, no Edomite men left to procreate, to create more Edomites. Lining up with other scriptures when they say, he would cut off son and nephew. All right. His women will go and are already going to other men. I think they hate Jacob so much today, calling their own women mud sharks and all that madness. Okay, and I've seen the memes where they show a road, they show a nice paved road and put white men. They show a sandy dirt road and put Asian, and then they show a dirty muddy road and it shows white men, and then it shows you a very attractive white woman all muddy. And these are being put up by white women repeatedly, and it's always a different attractive white woman all dirty and muddy, meaning she chose to go down the muddy road. So they're embracing that. So Esau, you just losing, man. You losing. But here we go again in the last one, and I can't wait to go into this one. Now I'm gonna actually do this with maybe some of the bishops or some of the younger bros. But we're gonna go into this book that has this page. This is a study Bible, an NIV study Bible. I'll bring it in and in between is a Zondervan study Bible, and in between Malachi and Matthew, it gives you I'll just put it in but it gives you this breakdown of the time between the testaments. And those bullet points you see marked the time between the testaments. See, it's all about the apocryphal scriptures, the things that are written about the Maccabees, and how the Israelites became Gentiles. Okay? So ain't no way around this thing, man. Then they try to remove on this page is giving you the Hellenistic period. Come on, man. Let's put that in the screen. Look at that. The Hellenistic period. It's breaking it down. Ooh, I can't wait to go into this. Okay, so anyway, back to the mission at hand, though. We don't want to jump ahead of ourselves. Let me just fold that. Ooh, I can't wait to go into this. Okay, so anyway, back to the mission at hand, though. We don't want to jump ahead of ourselves. Let me just fold that. Keep that creased. Then we'll go back to that, boy. But Malachi in the NIV, chapter 1, verses 1 through 5. And it reads, and an oracle, the word of Yahweh to the Israel through Malachi. Jacob loved, Esau hated. Esau, Edom, well, you're looking at an Edomite on the screen. And I love it when he wears a white tie, because it shows you clearly that they're not white. There's no such thing as white people. When the Bible speaks about whiteness, it's speaking about purity and goodness, not about skin color. These people are liars. Okay? It says, I have loved you, says Yahweh, but you ask, how have you loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother? Yahweh says, yet I have loved Jacob, but Esau I have hated. See what he's saying? If I made Esau this great temporarily, how great do you think I'm going to make you? See, this suffering and being on the bottom and this punishment, this is a part of our punishment. All right? And now the Lord is letting us see our oppressors, our punishers, fall as he's ushering in the new kingdom of heaven here on earth with the Israelites ruling. That's what's about to happen. And Esau, Edom is mad about it. Okay? It says, was not Esau Jacob's brother? Yahweh says, yet I have loved Jacob, but Esau I have hated, and I have turned his mountains into the wasteland and left his inheritance as a desert to the desert jackals. So you got to remember, Mount Seir was left desolate. It's a tourist attraction now. Okay? When they show you and you can see that the columns and the eagles that sit at the top of those columns are the same way that they built in Rome, which is the same way they built the White House and government buildings and museums and things around here in America and in Eurasia, in the western part of Asia. Europe is in Asia. They lied about that. It's not 7 continents. It's only 6. All right. The Bible doesn't mention Europe. It mentions Asia, Eastern Asia or Western Asia. Western Asia is either what they fraudulently call the Middle East, which is southern Western Asia, or Eurasia, which is western, northern Western Asia. And the Middle East is not southern, but it is a southern part of Western Asia. Salaki, I said that correctly. You got the northern part of Western Asia, which is Europe. You got the southern part of Western Asia, which is the so-called Middle East. And then you have the mid Asia, which is Central Asia, and then you have the Far East. All of it's east. The whole portion, that's the east. All right? But anyway, now that we cleared up that madness, it says, Edom may say, though we have been crushed, we will rebuild the ruins. But this is what the Lord Almighty says. They may build, but I will demolish. They will be called the wicked land, a people always under the wrath of Yahweh. You will see with your own eyes and say, great is Yahweh, even beyond the borders of Israel. So Esau built up all over the world. The Lord built him up so that he can bring him down publicly before the whole world and before Israel. That is what is about to happen. We're witnessing the downfall of Esau Edom, his control over the earth. He's losing right before our faces. This is right in the NIV, Malachi 4:1, and it reads, and the subtitle of this verse is the day of the Lord, which they say comes like a thief in the night. The thief of the Lord is coming back to destroy Edom, to remove her from power and set up the kingdom of heaven. Keep telling you that the white man's rulership, it falls, ushers in the kingdom of heaven here on earth, proving Christianity have been a total fabrication and a lie. Because they make you think you're going to go float around in the spirit world, and that's heaven. Heaven is here on earth. We've been telling you that heaven is rulership. That's right. Hell is oppression, being on the bottom, not having sovereignty. Okay, that's the best way. Matter of fact, I've never heard it said until I said it. Not in this matter, just now. Having ultimate sovereignty, that's heaven. And having no sovereignty is hell. That's the reality of this thing. That's right. The day of the Lord. Surely the day is coming. It will burn like a furnace. All arrogant and evildoers will be stubble. And that day is coming, will set them on fire, says the Lord Almighty. Right. Not a root or a branch will be left to them. And that's it. There's going to be nothing left to them. The them is who? Donald Trump and his Edomite brethren. That's right. All right, so with that, we want to give all praises, all honor and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rekahak, Wadash, Kwam, Yasharallah, Abad, Babal.
You're done, devil. That's right.